What is up, guys? It's Karina Lane from the University Rebel. I'm here with my boy, Mr. Mike Piff, where he owns his own music production studio out in Connecticut. He's going to come with us today. He's going to share a little bit about how he jumped off the path of formal education to chase his dreams and to hustle it out, how he built the foundation for him to have his business today. So stay tuned, guys, and thank you for watching. Did you have any influences growing up? You know, like when you were growing up, you know, for you to get into music now, like, you know, what big artists or producers out there really, like, sparked your interest?
Interest-wise, I say the first record that really caught my ear was a Moment of Truth album by Gangstar, which is like a classic East Coast hip-hop album. Mm-hmm. I got that, I believe I got that record on my 18th birthday, and I listened to it until I turned 19.
Right. Okay.
So a whole year I dove in that record.
Okay. All right. So, you know, what, personal situations possibly, because when it comes to, like, opening up your own studio, being an entrepreneur, being a hustler, you know, there has to be something that molded your personality that way, and maybe some instances that you went through, you know, growing up, you know, or being the person you are.
I would say probably, what led me to want to have a studio and pursue music. I remember vividly when I was 13 listening to a CD. I went, somebody makes music, they're probably getting paid pretty good, and it seems like it's fun. That's something that I want to do. So that's a reference point at 13.
Okay.
I had that realization. I also said I wanted to buy real estate with the first million I made, even though I didn't really know what real estate was, but it sounded real nice for the time.
Right, so you just want to get into that house flipping business, you know, like, or buy a home. That's what real estate really is with apartments.
Yeah, at the time I think I just heard people saying like real estate, and I was like, I want to do that too. Music, then real estate.
Because you was hungry, you were like, I just want to get it in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to hustle out.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So a little bit about, like, let's tap into a little bit about your education. How was, you know, high school for you? Did you struggle through the curriculum? Did you not really like authority? You know, how did high school transition into college? How did that work out for you?
I got a funny story.
Right.
Since I knew I wanted to do music, and this is something I was adamant about.
Right.
It seemed like anybody I talked to about it didn't take it serious, or like it wasn't a real career situation. So in terms of guidance, like guidance counselor relationship, like I did that whole thing, and I said I want to be a music producer. I got some hands-on experience, etc. And they're like, okay. So I go back and they're like, we got you an internship. So I'm like, okay, great. And the lady said, at a cabinet making factory. You know what I mean? So right there, that's somebody like,
what?
You know, blocking the vision.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So no guidance, no finance, nothing. You know what I mean? Because being in a situation where maybe your main influencers don't even know what financial aid is, or never financed a car before, or just don't know particular things, that gets in the way of your vision. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah,
we did a million hit record out of here.
Look at the million.
You know what I mean? Million play joint, 1.4 million.
Wow, that's a
lot. With my Albanian guys. Phase, what up? You know what I mean?
Right, so to produce that, I mean, that had to be great. Like, you know, like I did that, like that's a slap in the face that, you know, back when you was like young and trying to get it, like anybody who ever doubted you, like, yo, I just produced a 4 million hit right here.
It's cool, but I mean, the way I'm geared, my take on what success is, I can't celebrate it till I see what I vision for it.
Okay.
Same way.
Right, because you're still on that path. You're not done. Like, we're all not done, really. You know, every time you hit a milestone, it's like, all right, what's next?
Well, that's why they call it a direction. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not a destination. You just go as far as you can. That's what I'm doing.
Right. So, you know, going back, spoke a little bit about the education piece. You said that you dropped out, man. Why did you drop out of college? Like, a lot of people...
I I dropped out of college because part-time work and at the time whatever it was a $200 check or some ration that didn't cut it, plus the burden of a bunch of work that was irrelevant to my career path that I saw for myself.
Right.
I just had to roll out.
Okay.
And just.
Right.
And I said, you know what? At the time, I'll just work full time and just build the studio. I'll go straight for it. I'll just build the place that I see fit, where I would want to record my records.
Right. Okay. So how did you get brave enough to like drop out? Because you're older than me. I'm 21. But probably it was probably more taboo back then to like probably drop and say, you know what, I don't want to do this. This has nothing to do with my education. Because a lot of people in college, like college, bachelor's, master's, and then PhD if they go there, and that's the whole.
That's a whole. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are dodging bills, going back to school to avoid paying their loans and taking out more debt. I'm not in debt. You understand?
Wow. Okay. That's a big plus.
I'm not 100K in debt. I got the assets instead. It just costs time. So in reference to time, it took me 3 semesters to drop out.
Okay.
So that costs time. Time's the greatest commodity we got.
Right.
So my recommendation would be, if you know it's not for you, just totally curve it. And go rebel immediately. Exactly. Don't waste any more time.
Right. Curve it.
About it. You could spend. I had a conversation today with an associate of ours. I think it was $15K a semester for college. Well, why don't you just finance your first go round at a small business?
Right.
With nobody's permission. Just do what you want.
Do you hustle out?
I recommend it. I mean, how bad could it get? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what I spoke about earlier today. Like, if you take the L, just take the L and just keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just keep building yourself past that. So
it's your responsibility to do that.
Right.
Because if you don't, you die.
Exactly.
All right then.
So, how and why did you create your product? Hustle and passion. Like, why did you say? I know you had like, this is what I envisioned for myself. I'm gonna say I'm gonna do the music career. But like, why did you take that first step? Like, why? Like, what was that like? I'm doing this now.
Well, originally going back to a home situation, I couldn't put a place fit for recording at that location, which spawned me looking for a commercial space, and then with that rent came the need to supplement that with my newfound commodity, which is studio time, and the business was born.
All right. Okay. So you made a better use of your situation. You didn't have the space, so then you're like, no, we're just gonna do it over here, and then we're just gonna build out. Right. You spoke a little bit earlier about a lot of roadblocks, setbacks, any failures along the way that you've had with building up the studio, your name, giving credibility to that. So let's talk a little bit about what were your setbacks? Money, marketing, lack of knowledge. Like what was that? What were the setbacks on the journey?
Oh man, there's too many to list. Setbacks.
The most important was where you felt like you grew from it. Like those setbacks.
The first setback that anybody's going to deal with is the ratio between how much time it takes to get something with a price tag on it, and then based off of your income, how long is it going to take you to acquire that thing? You know what I mean? Because nobody cut a check and said, here's the studio.
Right.
Had to piece it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So an important component is working the entire time. Hard, because you have time. Time's the commodity.
Right.
So a lot of people, say an aspiring videographer wants to sit around and say, oh, if I had this and I had that, I could do this and do that, but they won't go work 60 hours a week at Home Depot for 7 months to get it.
Right.
So that's a major flaw in the foundation of the hustle.
Right.
Because you have to do what you got to do to get it.
Exactly. Like that's.
You know what I mean? Same thing. No car. All right. So ride a bike.
Yeah.
till you get a car.
Get
You
something
gotta
out.
get, or else you can be stuck where you're at forever, and that's not where I want to be at.
So
I'm out of here.
So pretty much, we're talking about obviously like taking your situation, building that foundation up where there's holes at, and not making any excuses and just going hard. Because if you don't do that, you're not gonna touch anything you want in life. You're gonna stay in the hole, or it's just gonna get worse for yourself.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah,
Because every one of
yeah.
those setbacks you speak of is an example of that. You know.
Right. So going and talking to you about the brand itself, you have a studio. How did you build out that studio to where people who have some type of recognition in the game of rap music, they want to come and work with you now? Like how did you get it out there? Where out of all these studios, Sound Loft is where they want to go in Connecticut.
I think I started at a time in kind of like I saw a lane, I saw a need for the artist, and stepped in and started serving them at ground level, and just word of mouth like is really built exclusively off of word of mouth, and then once self-sustaining off of that, just throwing coals on the fire as far as marketing. Another key component is I'm a artist, producer, I'm a lot of things besides studio mic, so I always put my emphasis on the Sound Loft brand and put myself on the back burner as an artist. So I guess having the excuse me, just knowing that it was better to invest into the situation that was creating revenue versus like following my dream as an artist per se.
Right. Okay. So, what does it really take to be Mike Piff? Like, what does it take to be you? What does it take for you to be a rebel against the general path that we have that people are on in order to like get their life right? What does it take to be you and for what you built?
You just gotta listen to yourself and do what you want to do at all costs. That's it, and the rest will work itself out.
Right. So that's just keeping your head and your eyes on the prize. Don't let anxiety, any type of depression get the best of you. Just keep grinding out until you hit your goals and dreams. Because, that's what it is nowadays. We have so much influence, so much technology to get what we want out there, to get people to see us, that all it is just doing the work behind the scenes and just putting it. Just
Definitely.
like you did. Right?
Taking action. And my note on depression and anxiety is, most likely, if you're not doing what you want, you're going to have those things.
Right.
So if you're pursuing it at 100% or, your highest capacity, the depression and your anxiety will probably reduce as your productivity for what you really want to do goes up.
Right. So when you know in your heart what you want to do, you're not going to be stressed out, and you're not going to fall behind. You're going to grind out because it's in your heart to do it. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, Mike Piff.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for
It's been
dropping
great.
those jewels to, the viewers out there who are struggling. Should I go to college? I don't know what I want to do. Who are pressured into going.
Save the money.
People who are like, man, should I drop out because I realize that things are just not for me, in this game. So you most definitely told people, gave a little insight on your experiences with that. And we most definitely appreciate that. Make sure you guys catch the University Rebel on YouTube and Instagram, and make sure you're catching my boy Mike Piff with his brand Sound Loft here in Connecticut, guys. I'll catch you later. Have a good night.
I wanna know what it feels like.